If you like having a variety of Christmas cookies but don't have hours and days to spend in the kitchen, stay tuned because I'm going to share 5 tips for keeping your Christmas cookie baking easy. Because I often make a gift of Christmas cookies, I like to have an assortment so I can put together a cookie tray with a variety of cookies. If you want variety without spending the whole month of December in the kitchen, try a couple of these tips. My first tip is to keep it simple. And there are options here to keeping cookie making super easy. One is to use one simple dough. Try making a batch of chocolate chip cookie dough, but before you add the chips, divide the dough into thirds, and then to each batch of dough, mix in something different. Maybe add white chocolate chips and crunched up candy canes to one batch, maybe butterscotch chips to another, red and green M&Ms to the last, and then bake them up and you will end up with 3 varieties of cookie with very little effort. You could also try making cookie bars. Cookie bars save so much time because you don't have to bake batch after batch of cookies on a tray. You simply put all the dough into a pan, bake it, and then slice it into squares when done. A quick search online and you can find some delicious cookie bar recipes. And a third option for keeping it simple would be to find semi-homemade recipes. My favorite one uses that pre-made sugar cookie dough that you find in the dairy section of your grocery store. But you can find other semi-homemade cookie recipes as well. And yeah, sure, you could make the dough from scratch, but this video is all about making it easy. My next tip is to host a cookie exchange. The number of cookies you end up with depends on the number of people you include in the exchange, and this is how it works. Invite maybe 5 friends to participate. This means there will be 6 of you plus the 5 people you invited. Obviously, you can invite more or less. However, if you invite only a couple of people, you only end up with a few cookies. And if you invite too many, you end up having to bake a ton. I think 5 to 7 people is the perfect amount. Have a sign-up sheet or log and let everyone decide on the one type of cookie that they want to make. Make sure you don't have any duplicates. Pick a day to host the exchange. The exchange can be a simple utilitarian gathering where you just hand out cookies and say goodbye, or you could turn it into a holiday party. Each person bakes about 6 dozen of one type of cookie. That gives them 1 dozen to keep, and then 5 to give a dozen away to each other invitee. Each person packs the cookies they made in 1 dozen cookies per package. I'm a fan of keeping it simple. I like to just put a dozen cookies on a paper plate and then put that plate into a gallon Ziploc bag. And then at the gathering, you dole out the cookies. Every member leaves with 5 dozen new cookies plus whatever they had at home. The reason this simplifies cookie making is that it is so much easier to make 6 dozen of one type of cookie than to make 6 different types. And if you turn it into a party, you have an excuse to hang out with friends. My third tip is don't delay. My go-to method for ensuring I have several different cookies to enjoy throughout the season is to start early and use my freezer. I choose recipes that freeze well, and really, most cookie recipes do. I freeze each kind of cookie separately, either in Ziploc bags or in a freezer-safe, airtight container. And then when I need to throw a cookie plate together, I can just grab out a few of each kind, let them thaw, put them on a tray, and voila, a cookie tray. This year, I plan on making my easy semi-homemade peppermint cookies that I mentioned earlier because they're delicious and they are my husband's favorite. I'm going to make baklava thumbprint cookies because they are delicious and they are my daughter's favorite. I plan on making cutout cookies with royal icing because they scream Christmas and let me feel a little creative and artsy. I'm going to make some M&M cookies and maybe I'll even make some peanut butter blossoms. And the last tip is to make some easy extras. I like to make a couple of quick and easy extras that aren't actually cookies. They're just sort of a sweet treat, but you can add them to cookie trays and they actually add a nice little variety. My favorites are pretzel turtles, which I make with square pretzels, a Rolo, and a pecan. I like to make chocolate bark, which is just sort of like melted chocolate with crushed candy canes or nuts on top. And I also sometimes make Oreo truffles, which are also delicious. Some other ideas might be like peanut butter balls, like Buckeyes, I think they're called. Maybe Rice Krispie treats, chocolate covered pretzels, peanut brittle, or even fudge. Like I said, if you want beautiful cookie trays, consider using a few of these tips to build a collection of sweet treats to enjoy yourself and to share with friends and family. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.